During the height of the beef with Game and G Unit, what is the streets of LA like at that time? Like, what is the politics going on? Is anybody trying to reach out to try to squash the situation?
Yeah, one person in particular I can recall, two T's from Bounty Hunters. Um, I was shooting a film in West Side Piru Hood on 103rd and McKinley at the Littleton's house with Sal. It's entitled Parole. Master P starred in it. I met DeMar DeRozan and Lil Romeo at that location shooting this film. However, my boy Puto, my bro from Grape, happened to go outside to the car. I was not actively shooting at this time. My castmates were, and I was taking this moment to take a nap. And Puto went outside to the car to retrieve something. And he came inside, woke me up from my nap and said, cuz, he had a purple rag hanging out of his pocket. He was like, cuz, a car just pulled up on me with two niggas and they was like, hey, where you from? He said, I already had the rag dangling. I couldn't lie. I was like, I'm from Great. He said, the nigga said, I'm from Bounty Hunters. I'm two T's. He was like, I know Spider in there shooting a movie because the set was real low key. It was a residential house. He said, I got game around the corner, man. I'm trying to have him talk and squash this shit. Let him know. So Puto came in and told me. I told cuz, man, I don't want to talk to nobody. I ain't trying to squash nothing. Because at that point, it wasn't my call to squash nothing. He had a beef with 50 and G Unit.
Right.
And I inherited it. Regardless of our personal experience, he had made it his business to be GU not, and I was G Unit. So it could have been squashed at any moment, but it had to come from the top at that point. So I wasn't going to entertain any conversation. I'm here on set working with some professionals. So I communicated to Puto and this dude named Dino, who was supposed to be responsible for keeping the set pure of outsiders. So what happened was on this particular date, I can recall making it clear I had no interest in speaking with him to all those that were relevant for me to let that be known to. And then I had to resume shooting. So I remember being in a dining room setting where I'm sitting across the table from my cast mates, and we're going through lines. They're setting the scene. And I can recall over my peripheral, over my shoulder, Game actually opening the front door to the home. This is a legendary home throughout my life that used to host weddings and wedding receptions and things of that nature. Is why it was acquired for this film. But he was coming in the door. My homie Luck from Hustlers, from Hard Time, who was about 5'7", 5'6", met Game at the door with his 6'5" frame. And he had a AR-15 with a dish towel over it. And he put his forearm in Game's like torso, politely letting him know, hey, the homie not talking to nobody right now, he working. So as I looked over my shoulder at the table, I see this taking place. Game is using his humility and his large stature to kind of lean past the homie and appeal to me like, Loco, it's me. You can't holler at me. It's me, my nigga. We can't talk. And my only response is, cuz, you don't see I'm working? I'll even give him my full attention by turning around. It's production lights, set, sound, the whole shit.
It's a professional situation. You're not trying to bring that shit to the...
This ain't the time.
Right.
I'm working. Outside of the fact I'm not interested in no peace treaty type shit.
He's not following the chain of command right now.
He's not doing nothing that I'm interested in whatsoever. I'm not finna allow your interest to shift my interest at this moment. I have a particular interest in being here. That's all I'm concerned with. Fuck what you talking about. That's how I feel. So the homie is also not allowing him to break that barrier, that threshold. So eventually the door gets closed. I get up, I throw a nutty at the people I told I didn't want to talk to nobody. But when I happen to look up out the window, cuz it looked like a Pyru picnic or a post-Pyru funeral. There's so many niggas out there just circling the location. My first mind is they're all here friendly with him. However, that turned out not to be the case. A lot of the crowd just got wind that I was there filming and they were coming just because. And there was a portion of the crowd there in representation and support of him. However, I'm in the backyard now of the actual location. So I can see the whole group of people force. I could see everything. And it was one dude by the name of Jim Bob from Campanella who got my attention on the opposite side of the gate and appealed to me to allow him to come inside the gate and talk to me. And I can remember he gave me a real passionate, intelligent speech presentation as to why it would be a good idea for me and Game to squash whatever we had. He was requesting me allowing him being the one to facilitate that type of conversation and explaining to me how it would be beneficial to him as well. And I listened to him with extreme respect that I felt was due to him. But at the end of him giving me his presentation, I let him know, like I told you, I wasn't in position to make that call. I wasn't interested in entertaining that idea, although I understood everything he was saying about us being black men with opportunity. I get it, but I ain't in position to even entertain that right now. And that was the most immediate moment I can remember. I can remember Del Dog, rest in peace. Summers in me on 104th. He used to have his homies from Main Street hit me and like, the homie want to holler at you. I remember pulling up on 104th to holler at Main Street. Holler at Del Dog. I pull up with a handful of homies, and he used to keep it so mafia. When you used to have to go to the back to the studio to holler at Del Dog, you used to have to go through a driveway, a black gate, then you go through the back. That's where the studio at. When you get to Del Dog house, you used to have a gang of homies in the front on their motorcycles hanging, rolling. They used to have big ass ashtrays, bigger than this, black ashtrays, big ass weeds, mafia blunts. Everybody rolling mafia blunts. So you pull up with your entourage. Normally, everybody greet you and let you and your whole entourage go through the back gate. I can remember this one particular time, I pull up with the entourage. I even had my homie Big Dane, who is celebrity security. Right now, currently with Chris Brown, it has been for years, but he's been through Eve, 50 Cent, Rick Ross, a number of celebrities. So he looks the part. He just happened to be on some downtime. He's a family member of mine, a homie. He was with me. So it looked like I had paid security. And the main streets in Del Dog, they were so fly and smooth that as I approached that day, by the time I got to that gate where I'm finna go back and actually have my meeting with Del Dog, they had picked off my whole entourage. Just, let me holler at you. Roll this up. What up, my nigga? So by the time I went through that threshold and looked back, I was by myself, including Big Dane, the security type nigga. Oh God, they picked everybody off. It was without saying, they said, no, the homie just want to holler at you. So I remember getting back there and Del Dog, anybody that know Del Dog, they know he used to pronounce Jimmy Iovine name like it was plural. He used to call him Jimmy Iovines. He got at me. He was like, look, man, whatever you got in game going, you and game got going, cuz. He was like, man, we could get a check out of Jimmy Iovines. It's big. You know, we need to go on and squash it. I'll get a check out of Jimmy Iovines. He'll cut a check. So once again, and Del Dog, who he is, was such a heavy influence and impression. If you think it was a hard time for me to turn down Jim Bob from Campanella, for me to get Del Dog to get at me like this, it was heavy. And I'm listening to him, and I give him the same response. Basically, I get to Jim Bob. It ain't on me. I can't do that. And Del Dog, Eastside Crip, he rest in peace. But his response to me was, well, if it's like that, write the check and ball it up, drop it on the ground. I'll pick it up. We'll knock him off. Talking about gang. Rest in peace, Del Dog. But that's the level he took it to. If I can't mediate on your behalf and get this check up out of Jimmy Iovines, then let me get a check and knock him off. That's where Del Dog was at with it. So Doja, I saved your life in that capacity as well. Because at the time I could have afforded it. But I didn't allow it to go there. It's just hip hop.